All right, we're going to dive into a pretty radical theory today. It's one that tries to connect some of the 20th century's biggest moments, things you'd never think go together. We're talking about a presidential assassination, shadowy spy agencies, and yeah, the whole UFO mystery. It is a wild ride for sure, so let's just jump right in. This right here, this is the central idea. This one sentence is really the destination that this whole theory is driving towards. It's asking us to think about a pretty mind-bending possibility. What if what we call history isn't random at all? What if it's something, well, something far more deliberate?
So where is all this coming from? Well, our main source for this explainer is a really detailed interview with author Peter Levenda. Now, this is a guy who spent decades digging into what he calls a shadow history, these alleged hidden links between intelligence agencies, occult groups, and the UFO phenomenon.
Okay, so let's start by pulling on that hidden thread. The question at the heart of all this is a big one. Are there unseen forces working behind the scenes, kind of weaving a secret pattern through the fabric of our history?
According to the research, this shadow history has four main players. First, you've got the intelligence agencies we all know, the CIA, the FBI. Then you have these secretive occult networks. And finally, you bring in the UFO phenomenon and the alleged non-human intelligence that might be behind it. The theory isn't just that these things exist separately, it's that they all cross paths. They intersect.
So, how does a huge theory like this actually connect to real-world events? Well, let's ground it in one of the most picked-apart moments in modern history, the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. But we're going to look at it through a very, very different lens.
The trail, as the source lays it out, starts with a name we all recognize. But in this version, Lee Harvey Oswald isn't the end of the story. Not even close. He's presented more like the first domino in a much bigger, much more complicated setup.
So you can kind of picture this chain of command, right? The theory links Oswald up to handlers in the intelligence community, people like the ex-FBI agent Guy Bannister, who reportedly had his own ties to UFO intelligence work. This whole idea reframes Oswald not as some lone wolf, but as a possible pawn in a much, much bigger game.
And this brings us to the most crucial point. Forget all the other theories you've heard, the Cold War, the mob, all of it. This theory suggests a motive that's completely out of left field. That JFK was killed to stop him from telling the world the truth about UFOs, to keep that secret at all costs.
Now, the JFK case? That's really just one example. From here, the theory zooms out to look at an even stranger intersection, the place where the world of spies smashes right into the paranormal, and this concept called synchronicity.
This is really the argument in action. The source claims that for these major historical events, you've got the official story we all learn, and then there's this hidden, shadow version. So, the Watergate scandal, it gets linked to occultism. Official military UFO reports are happening at the same time as secret seances. Even churches are supposedly being used as fronts for CIA spy rings.
Okay, so you're probably wondering, how on earth are all these things connected? Well, the theory really hangs on this one concept, synchronicity. You can think of it as meaningful coincidences, events that just seem way too perfect to be random. And the claim is that these overlaps aren't accidents, they're actually being used by these hidden networks, turning the paranormal into a real-world tool for spying.
And the source points to some really startling examples to back this up. We're talking about alleged connections between a CIA director, Alan Dulles, and seance groups, the known occult interests of a Watergate operative like E. Howard Hunt, and even reports of a church being used for covert intelligence work. So all of this, the JFK theory, the spies, the synchronicity, it's all building to one final and honestly pretty unsettling conclusion about the very nature of reality itself. And that final idea, they call it the hidden reality mechanism. This is supposed to be the grand unified theory of this whole thing, the one concept that ties everything we've just talked about into a single working system.
What it means, basically, is that history isn't just influenced, it's actively scripted. The source is proposing a mechanism, maybe even guided by some kind of non-human intelligence, that is directly manipulating the timeline of human events. I mean, it is a staggering concept to even think about.
And the implications of this, they're just immense. It would mean that nothing is an accident, that our biggest achievements and our darkest tragedies, from assassinations to world wars, might just be scenes in some kind of prophetic play, being acted out on the world stage from a script that we can't even see.
And that's the ultimate takeaway from this whole theory, that our timeline just might not be our own, that the flow of time, fate, and the events that define our entire existence are not totally in our hands, and that reality itself is being manipulated.
It's a really profound and unsettling idea to wrestle with, and it leaves us with one final, unavoidable question to think about. If our history really is a script, then who or what is writing it?